Hello students, before we go for the chapters, let me tell you one thing that I have learned with my experience over last 20 years, that when we learn physics, we need to practice it on a regular basis. Try to write the theories down on your copy at least once and try to do numericals on your own. If you even get stuck, you would be. Still continue with it to the extent you can have your patience, and more sums you practice, you learn physics better. So remember, write down the theories at least once on your copy, practice numericals, and apply a little intelligence that you already have. Because one thing I'm telling you, I think you know Benjamin Franklin. He once said that tell me and I forget, teach me, I may remember, but involve me and I learn. That means you need to get involved into the homeworks that I give you, the theories that I show. You have to practice it on your copy, and more numericals, better, stronger you will be in physics. What we have in our physics syllabus. So I have written it on board so that I can scare you. See this, 11 physics has 4 parts. Part 1 is mechanics, part 2 is GPM, part 3 is heat, part 4 is oscillations and waves. In mechanics, we would be studying motion. Now, the motion in which cause of motion is not known, only motion has to be treated, analyzed. That part is called kinematics. Clear? And the part of the motion where cause of the force is known. Cause of force means force. Which force is acting, in which direction, how much. When cause of force is known, then we say the part of mechanics to be dynamics. So mechanics further is classified into 2, kinematics and dynamics. Second part, GPM. GPM is general properties of matters. We'll be studying some properties in this part, like elasticity, like fluid mechanics, flow of fluid, mainly liquids, and fluids at rest. You remember Archimedes' principle, and other laws we'll be studying here. Third part is heat. You have a clear idea of heat. We will be doing a little extent further in heat. That would be easier. A little problem may be created by this part, oscillations and waves. We have very little amount of knowledge as far as class 10 is concerned. But we will be doing this, no problem. Oscillations and waves, fourth part. So these are the 4 parts of our class 11 physics. We will be starting mechanics first to have a clear idea. And in mechanics, we'll be studying kinematics first and then dynamics. So in kinematics, if you want to have a clear idea, I think we should start with the chapter vectors. That is very interesting and that will help you dealing with problems, theories related to mechanics. Actually, vector idea is quite applicable to all these parts. So let us start with vector. So physics quantities are mainly classified into 3 parts: scalars, vectors and tensors, but we don't have tensors in our syllabus. So we mainly will classify quantities into scalars and vectors. And I think you know the quantities that have a certain direction are called vectors. And some of the vectors that we will be dealing with regularly are displacement, then father of displacement, velocity, then father of velocity, acceleration, then father of acceleration, force, father of force, energy. Energy is a scalar quantity. Up to force, they are vectors. So scalars and vectors, quantities which do not have direction are scalars, and the quantities which have magnitude and direction both are vectors. This definition will no longer go alongside with the concept that we are going to learn. Why? vectors are the quantities which do have a definite direction and magnitude. But in addition to that, they should obey certain laws. Those are called vector laws. Quantities which obey all these three laws, commutative laws, associative laws, and distributive laws, in addition to having both magnitude and direction, are called vector quantities. Okay, so that is the actual idea of vector quantities. Now, current is a scalar quantity or vector quantity or a tensor quantity. Oh, okay, let us drop that tensor concept. Vector or scalar right now. Obviously, it is not vector, but see, it has got both magnitude and direction. Suppose this is a wire and 5 ampere current is passing through this. This is another wire and 2 ampere current is passing through that. And they combine together to pass a current of 7 ampere through a third wire. Now, current has a definite magnitude, 5 ampere, 2 ampere, 7 ampere like this, and they have a direction from this point to this point. Now, if I change the direction, will the result that 7 ampere current is passing through this wire change? Will it change? Yes, because if I reverse this direction, suppose 5 ampere current is entering but 2 ampere current is leaving, then how much current will pass through this? 3 ampere. So you see, on changing the direction, the value changes. So current does have a direction. Still, it is not a vector. That's why I told you from now on we'll be learning vector in this way, that the quantities which have both magnitude and direction, like current, and also obeys or obey certain laws, associative law, distributive law, and commutative law, will only be called vectors. So in that sense, current is not a vector because it does not obey those laws. First idea. Next, the representation of a vector. How we represent a vector? We represent a vector by a straight line with an arrow. Why? Because vector quantities have two things. Magnitude, that is value, and the second thing is direction. So a vector quantity has two things, magnitude, that is value, and direction in certain direction. So to represent these two things, we do what? Magnitude is represented by the length of this arrow. That means from here to here. This much will represent its magnitude. That means what? Suppose if I cut short this length to half of this, that means if this vector was, suppose, let us take an example of force, 50 Newton force is acting in this direction. So half of the length is half. So what will be halved? Magnitude. So its magnitude would be 25 Newton. Similarly, if you further half it, so this force would be 12.5 Newton. Further half of that. So you understand this meaning? Length represents magnitude of the vector. Not exactly right now, we'll be doing that in engineering, how exactly length can represent that. Otherwise, roughly seeing the length, we can understand whether the vector has a large value or a smaller value. Or we can compare its value with this. That means shorter, so less magnitude, less value. First part clear? Second part, direction. Direction is represented by two things. One is angle. There is a symbol of angle. One is angle and the other is arrow. When I have drawn this 50 Newton vector, look at this. It has not been properly represented. Why? Because I have not given exact direction. So how can direction be shown? By an arrow? Yeah, it is given. But where is the angle? So we need to give some angle with x-axis, y-axis or z-axis even. No problem. So here I am giving an angle with x-axis. Now it is correct that this is a vector representing what? 50 Newton force. Force is a vector quantity. having a magnitude of this much means the value I told you, we will not measure it directly in class 11 HS. HS means lower secondary, not higher secondary, because simple things are there. So we will not directly take a scale and measure it from its length. We will just write it by its side, what is its magnitude. So this length represents a magnitude of 50 Newton, and this direction is represented by this arrow and this angle. So we can say a force of 50 Newton is acting at an angle of 60 degree with x-axis.